everyone, and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. Today I'm looking at the anti-Prince William rhetoric that is around and about in the British press at the moment, particularly the Daily Mail. It's very obvious and it's making a lot of people very angry. I know it's mostly in the Daily Mail and also on their YouTube channel, Palace Confidential, and it's causing people to actually unsubscribe from that channel. I stopped watching it quite a long time ago because I didn't like the tone it was taking, and now they are really having a go at William and Catherine for their decision to move from Adelaide Cottage to Forest Lodge. First of all was the why won't they stay at Buckingham Palace or Windsor Castle, ignoring the fact that the King hasn't bothered to move into Windsor Castle or Buckingham Palace and never will. So there's a lot of drumming up animosity, antagonism towards William and Catherine for that. All this money spent on refurbishing Buckingham Palace and you won't move in. You're going to go and stay quietly by yourself in the middle of a forest, basically, at Forest Lodge. What's that about? Then there was the documenting the people who were being evicted from their cottages to make way for William and Catherine and their police protection. The cottages were going to be turned into police cottages to protect them. Now there's a hit piece in the Daily Mail, and it's a particularly ugly one, and it's dredging up things that have got nothing to do with William and Catherine and saying they didn't do their due diligence, didn't research the property properly before deciding to move in because of its links with slavery. And it goes on and on and on about the links with slavery, ghastly tale. And then also Sue with side that thing, shall we just say, the word YouTube does not like you to say. So it's very obvious that there is a campaign against William and Catherine, and it's coming from all kinds of journalists across the Daily Mail. I want to know what's going on. I'm using the new Palladini Tarot. A lot of people are speculating it's sour grapes, basically, because William and Catherine don't brief the media, they don't leak, their staff don't leak, and the further away they get from Windsor Castle and Adelaide Cottage, and dare I say Frogmore Cottage, the harder it is for journalists to actually gain access to them or to have eyes on the ground, basically watching what's going on. And they do know that at some stage William is going to shut them down completely. They've had glorious access through Fergie, and the King also briefs the media. Diana did, Harry and Meghan do, allegedly. William and Catherine, no. So there's that. Then there's also the speculation that it's got something to do with Harry's lawsuit against the Daily Mail. Because they are taking quite a sympathetic tone towards the has-been. Not Meghan so much, but towards the has-been. So we're going to have a look at this. I'm going to do a mini Celtic cross with the new Palladini Tarot. We're going to find out what's going on from the Daily Mail's point of view. What's going on? What is the challenge, the threat to them from Prince William? Who's behind this campaign? It's reading like a campaign. What's the goal? What's the object, the intention of this? And does it have anything to do with the past, the litigation? Well, it's ongoing litigation, but that's going to be our past energy with the has-been. And how's it going to go for the Daily Mail? What's going to happen? Basically, outcome card. So a shortened version of the Celtic cross. And let's see what's going on. Of course, it is tarot, fun and entertainment. One more shuffle. All my opinion, all speculation. I just read energy here, and disclaimer in the box below. What's going on with the Daily Mail? Who's got them all riled up with this anti-William campaign? Allegedly. Throw one of those back on the tarot table. So here we go. Celtic cross, but it's a mini one. And just 6 cards. And there they are. And the underlying energy. Ooh, we've got a tower. A tower, and it's in reverse. This is a crisis, a shock and a crisis. It's a tipping point for the Daily Mail. They're trying to recover from something that could be very damaging to them with the tower. My guess is the lawsuit. My money's on that one. for that. Tower is all fall down. It's bringing something down that's on very shaky ground. Perhaps their defense is on rather shaky ground. Even though I think this is the case, it's hard to keep track of where, what happens where in Harry's lawsuits. But I think this is the one where there has possibly been pay to play with some of the witnesses. There was that a few months ago, and the judge got very cross about it and told Harry and his legal team off for that. So there's that. But the Tower is trying to withstand something, or trying to recover from something that has been very damaging and very difficult. Partly William's energy as well, because of course they've been through this awful crisis in the family with Catherine's illness, and they're stating that is the reason why they want to move from Adelaide Cottage to somewhere where they can make a fresh start. So it's in there as well, rebuild after that shock, literal shock with the Tower. But there's a shock for the Daily Mail also, that they are trying to recover from, rebuild from. And I can only assume that it is the lawsuit. I know that the media are in a lot of trouble. Traditional media in particular are in a lot of trouble. But the Daily Mail seems, on the face of it, seems to be surviving better than most. It's very widely read now around the world, which doesn't bode well for the world. But anyway, in my opinion, I read it 2 hands up, I confess. So, situation, Daily Mail, what's going on? And we've got the Magician. Ooh, the spin card is right here. The Magician, the Trickster, when it's in reverse. This is my don't trust a word they say card when it's in reverse, particularly when it's in reverse, because it is just media spin, it's trickery, it's dishonest energy for me, that Magician card when it's in reverse. It's deflection. It's something else going on that they don't want you to focus on, so they bring your attention to something trivial that absorbs you completely, and you don't notice what is going on that you should really be looking at. So there's something else going on. And there is a lot of negative press around the royals at the moment with the Andrew situation. So that could be being used to put pressure on Prince William and the Princess of Wales to deflect from the Andrew and Fergie story. That's possible. I didn't think of that. We're going to check who's behind this and why in a bit, but it's definitely spin. It's definitely a campaign against Prince William. And it's obvious that it's a campaign, but it's interesting that the cards show it so clearly. It literally is that card for me as an energy reader. So what's the particular problem that Prince William presents to the Daily Mail, or what's their challenge, what's crossing them, what's their difficulty? We've got the King of Pentacles in reverse. That's interesting. They're waiting for him to be king. When he becomes king, cards in reverse are sometimes delayed activation. It's coming. When he becomes the king, he's going to be very calm, very grounded, very deliberate, very solid. It's not going to be nearly as easy if you're a journalist, if they call themselves journalists still, to get juicy stories out of him. It's going to be like squeezing a rock, a stone. And so they're making hay at the moment, while they've got much more volatile characters or much weaker characters around in the monarchy, and I include the king in that, and of course Prince Andrew, and of course Harry. Interestingly, that's also Harry energy, the King of Pentacles in reverse. They would have loved to have Harry back in the UK, back in the royal fold, because Harry leaks like a sieve. He always has. I'm not going to say allegedly. He was famous before he met Meghan for hanging out with journalists. I was going to say buying them rounds of drinks. I don't think he's ever paid for a round of drinks in his life, but certainly hang out down the pub with them and leaking, telling them stuff. Now they haven't got access to that King of Pentacles in reverse, and they're also getting a very solid, very reserved person who is going to make their jobs very difficult, unless they can dig up some real juice right now about Prince William. Then they've got their work cut out in future. The tabloids, the gossip, what do they call them? the gutter press. That's the word I'm looking for. So who is behind this? The message went out. Did it go out from the big cheese at the Daily Mail? This is what you must do. Or did it go from further afield, say across the Atlantic? Who's behind this? We've got the Last Judgment. I am getting that this is court case related with that card, because that is the decider, the decision case. And when it's upright, it's returns, homecomings, second chances, all of those things. Forgiveness is the thing that's really coming through for me in the Last Judgment card. If we're hateful towards your brother, oh, you King of Pentacles in reverse, perhaps you'll forgive us our sins, our trespasses, and we won't have to go to court, and we won't have to shed loads of money. Possibly. I don't know. They seem to be putting up quite a solid defense, the Daily Mail. It's not the Daily Mail, it's Associated, not something news. I can't remember what they're called. But it's not coming from across the water so much, not directly. I would say that this is how I'm seeing it as a visual, and this is my speculation and my opinion. It's making a little stop in the lawyer's office. And the lawyer's office is where this is being thrashed out. This is how I'm seeing it. That if message is coming from Montecito, Montecito is equally receiving messages from London via the lawyer's office. That's how it's reading for me, this Last Judgment. And it sits with this Tower in reverse as well. So it's making sense from that perspective. What's the goal? What's the goal of this campaign against Prince William? 8 of Cups in reverse. You see, they want the misery to go on. 8 of Cups is literally leaving your sorrows behind and moving on from them, putting them in the past and saying, okay, I'm done with that. Done with being unhappy. But no, they want him to stay in that energy of 8 of Cups and stay miserable. Stay in an unhappy home. Stay in an unhappy royal family. It gives us stuff to write about. We can write about that all day. And I understand it. When I go looking for stories to read on, I'm generally not looking for good news stories to read on, basically. So I do understand it, that they want trouble. Trouble in the land is good. They want to stir up trouble for Prince William. If he's not making it organically himself, then they've got to make it happen. Magician in reverse, manifesting card, but manifesting negativity because it's in reverse, to make it look bad for him, because it gives them something to sharpen their poison pens about their quills and get busy. So it's pretty obvious energy that I'm picking up as an energy reader, and let's say, or my opinion, let's look at Harry's court case directly, past energy, because it's ongoing, but it started several years ago. So what's that got to do with anything? The Knight of Swords. This is him rushing in, wanting vengeance. And it's that fast-moving rescuer kind of energy that I always get from the Knight of Swords. Very loyally, the Knight of Swords, but it's in the sense of suing and counter-suing, fast and furious. The letters that the lawyers are eternally writing, threatening people with legal action, that kind of stuff, probably came in like a bolt from the blue. As far as the Daily Mail were concerned, that Harry suddenly had joined this case. I think he joined late, because that's the Tower. That's the thunderstruck. Can't believe what's happened. This is going to look so bad. And of course it was in the midst of all the other litigation. So the Daily Mail got dragged into that whole thing as well. And they do like to pretend that they're better than the rest of the gutter press. That's my personal opinion. So yeah, they were shocked by this. And it did come in a very strategic and very fast and furious way, threatening them, I think. And okay, now how are we going to handle it? Because, of course, the royals do seem very protected by the British courts. Let me just say that for what it's worth, in my opinion. What Harry calls an establishment stitch-up. The Daily Mail might also be looking at the courts and thinking establishment stitch-up. So what's going to happen? Outcome. of this mini Celtic cross. Where are we headed with this? Three of Rods is waiting energy. It's not going to be ruinous for the Daily Mail. It's biding time. Seeing what your ships bring back, those ships that you have sent out in that Three of Rods energy, because it's hope and expectation. It's doing something with the hope that it bears fruit. So this campaign against Prince William that's going on here very clearly for me energetically is very intentional, very deliberate, Magician in reverse, and it has got something to do with this court case, in my opinion. And they are hoping, also in my opinion, that the strategy is going to bear fruit with Harry. I'm not saying that Harry is behind this. I'm not saying that Harry cooked the scheme up, but I am saying that the Daily Mail might have cooked the scheme up and set it into motion because they're hoping that it lands well with Harry. It gives him an out, perhaps, as well. This Dragon Slayer who needs to weasel his way out of this court case just as much as they probably do as well. The costs are mounting. It's looking bad for Harry, as I say, with the witness business. There was something else I wanted to say, that they also dredged up the Daily Mail, just by the way, which made me bring Harry into the story, is that they were claiming, I think it was the Daily Mail, that Harry and Meghan wanted to stay in Forest Lodge. I don't think it was the Daily Mail who directly claimed that. I think it was a Mr. Allegedly story, a Neil Sean story, that one of the reasons why there's such a bad response to this is that Harry and Meghan actually wanted Forest Lodge. So I'm going to put that at the end for what it's worth, and don't think it was the Daily Mail that claimed that directly, just to make that very clear. That's the reading. Poor old William, gotta say, that man is really being made to suffer from all angles at the moment. But there it is. We're going to look at him again in the next one, and I hope to see you over there.